Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Account-Based Engagement Summit 2021. I'm Kris Rudeegraap, and I'm here to present to you on the ABE optimization track. And for today's presentation, we're going to talk about delivering standout experiences across the buyer's journey. A little bit about me. I started Sendoso about 5 years ago. Prior to that, I spent about 10 years in sales, and I really saw firsthand the power of sending direct mail and gifts. It was just so hard and manual and time consuming back when I was in sales. And so I dreamed up of this really easy to use all-in-one platform that made it simple to click and send stuff. And that was the goal for starting Sendoso. And here we are today. We're the world's leading sending platform, helping tens of thousands of people worldwide use our platform to engage with their prospects, customers, and everyone else in the ecosystem. All right, so let's get started. For today, I really want to think and talk about three areas. First is the top of funnel. How do you use Sendoso during the top of the funnel? And I'm going to showcase some of the different ways we at Sendoso use our product. So, eating our dog food, drinking our champagne, call it what you want to call it. I'm going to show you that top of funnel. We'll then jump into middle and late funnel and see how you can execute on different account-based engagement strategies. And then lastly is after that prospect becomes a customer, you can't stop there. You need to continue delivering that wow experience into the customer journey. First and foremost, we really believe that relationships matter in account-based marketing and account-based sales. Relationships are the core foundation for everything. And that was one of the inspirations for starting Sendoso. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of different ways that you can get creative with leveraging a platform like Sendoso. You can drive top of funnel interest. You can incentivize leads. You can engage prospects to stay top of mind. You can motivate prospects to accelerate the deal in the pipeline. You can onboard customers. And then lastly, you can increase retention. And we'll get into each and every one of these across the buyer's journey. All right. The other thing here to show is just a few stats as you measure the results. So it's important not only to leverage these different channels like direct mail and gifting, but also to track the results. So some comparative examples here, we can see PubNub increased webinar registrants by 32% using a charity choice e-gift powered by Sendoso. In the middle of the funnel, you can see Gong generated over 400 new opportunities and saw tens of millions in influence pipeline with this mini Gong sending campaign, which was really cool. Closer to the bottom of the funnel, you can see Terminus generated 5.5 million in pipeline and over 650,000 in revenue in 3 quarters across all of Sendoso campaigns, including ABM and really this recipe campaign, which was really cool. And then lastly, in the upsell and retention, you can see Arctic Wolf closed over 27 deals, equating to more than 20% of quarterly revenue from one upsell campaign using Sendoso. So hopefully this just gives you some proofs in the pudding and some examples of some of the measurable results that you can track by using a sending platform. All right, so let's top of funnel. So here at Sendoso, and I'm going to get into the weeds here and really get into the details. So we have a sequence name called C2 ABM, Engaged Marketing. We have a targeted segment that we use. We call it Tier 1. We have different tiers. We then look at the high engaged people in our Tier 1. And then we look at ultimately the number of people that fell into that category. There's about 250, and we did a 1-to-1 campaign on this. And so you can see here in our sequence, you can see the first 3 touches: email, in-mail, phone call. And then touch number 4 is where we sent donuts. And this is a really cool DIY donut making kit. That was followed up by an email mentioning those donuts in a LinkedIn message. We then look at touches 7, 8, 9, and you can see the different ways that we're using us there. And then touch number 10 is another Sendoso touch in this outreach sequence. So this just gives you a sense if you're really looking at where and how you integrate a sending platform into your outreach sequences. For us, in this specific campaign we did, or this specific sequence, we used it at touch 4 and touch 10. And you could see here, this is the picture of the little donuts that you can make. We used Salesforce and Outreach for this. And then from a result, we saw 50% response rate from that step in that sequence for that donut kit. And we personally, over the course of 3 weeks, our SDR team generated 969,000 in pipeline from this. All right. The next thing we did is to really ensure meeting attendance. So you spend all this effort getting people to a meeting or to accept a meeting. How do you get them to show up? And so we used an automated send here, or a triggered send. And what we did is we triggered a $5 coffee e-gift. This coffee e-gift gives the recipient the option to redeem it at a bunch of different places: Starbucks, Dunkin', Panera, Caribou. And what we saw is that we sent this the day of or the morning of a meeting to remind participants and to drive some excitement for that meeting. And this was previously done by SDRs. We had marketing automated, so it looks like it's coming from the SDRs, but completely automated. That resulted in 54 hours of manual work eliminated from the SDR so they could focus on selling. We saved about $6,000 a month in account balance from automating this. And we saw an increase to over 90% hold rate for these SDR book meetings. Quite successful. And we used Salesforce and Marketo to do this. All right, so the next Sendoso send that we did was these candles. And the goal here was to reactivate stalled pipe. And so for people that ended up not showing to demos or were rescheduling and never rescheduled, where there was some interest, but the prospect went dark for whatever reason, we wanted to automate off the Salesforce contact activity record and send them a really nice high-end branded candle with kind of a fun, punny note like "You went dark on us." And with that campaign, we leveraged Salesforce and Marketo to do this. And we saw a 50% win back rate, which was huge. That went into our pipeline and something that we wouldn't have had without this campaign. All right, so we talked about top of funnel. Let's talk about mid and late stage funnel and what else you can use Sendoso for and how we use Sendoso. So the next thing is reiterating our value proposition. So we really wanted to provide a strong first impression with stakeholders and to showcase how Sendoso works. And what we did is we sent a nice little coffee mug, some coffee grinds, a little brochure and a case study and a little booklet. And this was all packed together with a handwritten note and a nice custom box. And so our goal here was to accelerate deal velocity and shorten time between calls, and then increase the win rate in competitive deal cycles. And so this was automated by our marketing team through Salesforce based on Salesforce data. The next thing we did is we wanted to engage strategic stakeholders. So as you guys know, with account-based selling or account-based marketing, you want to engage multiple stakeholders in the buying committee. And so with that, what we did is we wanted to send stuff to other stakeholders at the company so that we could engage others outside of just the champion. This was especially important when there's RFPs and multiple folks involved. And so what we did is we sent out a money tree, and we had some clever handwritten note that went along with it, mentioning money doesn't grow on trees, but we can help you drive more pipeline. And this program was done through Salesforce, and some of the data that we saw, we got an 80% response rate from the C-suite that we sent this to, and there was a 9x ROI on closed won revenue. All right, next up is celebrating closed won deals. So this is huge. We see a lot of customers wanting to tell their friends, their other peers about Sendoso. And as part of that, it's because we really try to celebrate new customers and get them excited to be customers. And so when a deal is finally closed, what we do is we trigger a welcome package to that new customer. And this is also sent to multiple stakeholders at the company. It helps drive exec buy-in immediately when a closed won deal. And it also ensures a smooth handoff from the sales team to our customer success and implementation team. And in this kit, there's a couple of different things that we do here. There's some sweet little treats. There's a bottle of wine, and there's another candle here. And this is done through Salesforce. All right, so let's talk about the last leg of the journey, which is the customer journey. Some might say is the most important part, because once they're a customer, you can keep them a customer for years or decades. And they also might switch companies and then want to become a customer again. So how do you really delight customers through the customer journey? The first thing we do is through a triggered send when we onboard new customers. So this is important as it's during the process when we are onboarding a customer or training them how to use our platform. And what we do is we send a helpful how-to guide with some different assets. We send them some swag, and we really get them excited to start using Sendoso. So there's a couple different things we send here depending on the customer. We've got a fun little send it button. There's cookies, there's some champagne. And the goal here is really decreasing the time to value for new customers, especially with these how-to guides that they can refer back to, and increasing user adoption immediately. And this is done through Salesforce and Marketo. The next thing we do is highlighting key milestones for our customers. And so this can be both product usage, so things that we can highlight to encourage further adoption and create more advocates. This could also be life moments with our customers too, so that we can engage with them for certain milestones that they might be facing, like promotions or life moments like having a kid or other things that we hear about. And this is done through an automated trigger through Salesforce based on data within our CRM. And what we're doing is we're trying to drive meaningful behavior within our platform, which drives stickiness and retention. And ultimately, we're trying to increase NPS and CSAT by celebrating our customers' success. And one of the popular things that we trigger off is these succulents here. All right, the next thing we do is we use Sendoso for gathering customer feedback. So we automate a variety of surveys through SurveyMonkey and Marketo. And upon filling out these surveys, we trigger thank you gifts, which can sometimes be branded swag and also e-gifts as well. We also do this through a G2 campaign that's triggered off of NPS scores as well. And this is done throughout the customer life cycle. So in the beginning and years into them being customers, there's a myriad of reasons why we might ask for feedback, whether it's feedback on our services, whether it's feedback on new product launches. And ultimately through this program, we've saw almost 100 new G2 reviews from net promoters. We saw 17% of quarterly ARR cited reviews as a key deciding factor. And so what that means is that our new prospects are actually getting influenced by our customer feedback. So this program in itself drives higher conversion rates. And then we also saw pipeline influence over 400,000 from this. And this was done automatically through Salesforce, Marketo, and SurveyMonkey. All right, hopefully that was helpful and it gives you a great introduction into how Sendoso uses Sendoso. Thank you so much for listening in to my account-based engagement presentation in this year's summit. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And thanks again.